In a small, secluded village nestled deep in the countryside, there stood an ancient mansion that was said to be cursed. The mansion, once a grand home to a wealthy family, had been abandoned for decades. Its windows were shattered, and its walls were covered in ivy, giving it an eerie, almost sentient presence. But it was not the mansion itself that drew the most fear. It was the massive, ornate wardrobe that stood in the master bedroom. Legend had it that the wardrobe was cursed by a vengeful spirit. The story began many years ago when the mansion was still vibrant with life. The family who lived there had a daughter named Eliza. She was a kind and gentle soul, but she fell ill and passed away at a young age. Her grieving mother, overcome with sorrow, locked Eliza's favorite dresses and belongings in the wardrobe, hoping to preserve her memory. However, Eliza's spirit did not rest. Her presence lingered, growing increasingly malevolent as she sought to reclaim her belongings. Over time, strange occurrences began to plague the mansion. Servants reported hearing whispers and footsteps when no one was there. Objects moved on their own, and an overwhelming sense of dread hung in the air. Eventually, the family fled, leaving the mansion and its cursed wardrobe behind. Years passed, and the mansion remained vacant, a grim reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the family. But curiosity got the better of a group of teenagers who decided to explore the old mansion one fateful night. Among them was Sarah, a brave and adventurous girl who had heard the stories but did not believe in ghosts. As they wandered through the dilapidated halls, they stumbled upon the master bedroom. The wardrobe stood ominously in the corner, its doors slightly ajar. Ignoring her friend's warnings, Sarah approached the wardrobe, her curiosity piqued. She pulled open the doors and was met with a chilling draft that seemed to emanate from within. Suddenly, the room grew cold, and the air thickened with an otherworldly presence. Sarah's friends watched in horror as she was lifted off her feet and pulled into the wardrobe. The doors slammed shut with a deafening bang, and the room fell silent. Panicked, her friends tried to open the wardrobe, but it was locked tight. Desperate, they fled the mansion and sought help from the village. The villagers, well aware of the mansion's curse, refused to return, fearing for their lives. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah was never seen again. The mansion and its cursed wardrobe remained untouched, a grim monument to the power of the vengeful spirit that resided within. And so, the legend of the cursed wardrobe grew, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurked within the shadows of the abandoned mansion. Months passed, and the mystery of Sarah's disappearance continued to haunt her friends and family. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah's older brother, Michael, resolved to face the mansion and the cursed wardrobe himself. Armed with only his courage and a flashlight, he set out one stormy evening, driven by a desperate need for closure. As Michael approached the mansion, the wind howled through the broken windows, and lightning illuminated the once grand structure, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance and whisper. Undeterred, he pushed open the creaking front door and stepped inside. The mansion was just as his sister's friends had described: cold, dark, and filled with an unsettling silence. He navigated the labyrinthine halls, his flashlight casting narrow beams of light that revealed decaying furniture and forgotten relics of a bygone era. Finally, he reached the master bedroom. The wardrobe loomed in the corner, its doors slightly ajar as if mocking him. Michael took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. He approached the wardrobe, his hand trembling as he reached for the handle. "Sarah, I'm coming for you," he whispered, his voice echoing in the stillness. The moment he touched the wardrobe, a bone-chilling cold enveloped him, and the room darkened. The doors swung open with a creak, revealing an abyss of darkness within. Michael hesitated for a moment, then stepped inside, determined to find his sister. The world around him shifted as he was pulled into the wardrobe. The sensation was disorienting, and he felt as though he was falling through a void. When he landed, he found himself in a dimly lit room that seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and whispers filled the space, echoing with an otherworldly resonance. "Sarah," he called out, his voice barely audible over the whispers. A faint figure appeared in the distance, and as Michael approached, he recognized his sister. She looked pale and haunted, her eyes filled with a sadness that pierced his heart. "Michael, you shouldn't have come," she said, her voice a mere whisper. "I had to find you," he replied, reaching out to her. "We can leave together." Sarah shook her head, her expression forlorn. "The wardrobe won't let us go. It's bound by a curse, and we're trapped here with it." Determined to break the curse, Michael began to search the endless room for a way out. He discovered ancient runes etched into the walls, and as he studied them, he realized they were part of a spell meant to bind the spirit of Eliza. The only way to break the curse was to perform a ritual that would set her spirit free. With Sarah's help, Michael gathered the necessary items: a piece of Eliza's dress, a lock of her hair, and a locket that belonged to her mother. They arranged the items in a circle and began to chant the incantation inscribed on the runes. As they chanted, the room grew colder, and the whispers intensified. A figure emerged from the shadows: Eliza's spirit, her eyes filled with sorrow and rage. "Why do you disturb my rest?" she demanded, her voice echoing with anger. "We want to set you free," Michael said, his voice steady despite his fear. "Your mother loved you and never meant to trap you here." Eliza's expression softened, and tears welled up in her eyes. "I've been alone for so long," she whispered. "I only wanted to be with my family." With those words, the ritual reached its climax. A blinding light filled the room, and Eliza's spirit began to fade, a look of peace washing over her face. The oppressive cold lifted, and the whispers ceased. Michael and Sarah found themselves back in the master bedroom, the wardrobe standing silent and still. The curse had been broken, and Eliza's spirit was finally at rest. They left the mansion together, the dawn breaking on the horizon. Though they had faced unimaginable horrors, they had also found a way to bring peace to a tormented soul. The mansion, now free of its curse, stood as a reminder of the power of love and the strength of family bonds.